As Africans, we have been programmed to consume more than we produce. Why is Africa as a whole being programmed to consume more than it produces? And who actually benefits? I'm going to ask you something uncomfortable right now. Why is it easy for 10 friends to contribute $500 or 500 rands each to buy alcohol at a party? But it is impossible for the same 10 people or the same 10 friends to contribute 500 rands each or dollars to start a business, a tech startup, or a community project. Why is it difficult to do that or uncomfortable? I'll wait for that answer. Why is enjoyment effortless but building feels suspicious or risky or not worth it, especially to my people in Africa, especially in the country that I reside in, which is South Africa? This isn't about hating fun at all. I do not hate having fun. I understand that fun is necessary in our lives. But this is about asking why we invest more in destruction than construction. These are the questions we should ask ourselves as the youth of Africa. And yes, we should ask ourselves these difficult questions because Africans, especially South Africans, are not poor because we do not spend money. We actually spend a lot, if you've observed. We spend on alcohol, we spend on parties, we spend on fashion, we spend on entertainment, we spend on grooving, consumer electronics, we spend on status symbols, Gucci, Calvin Klein. We brag about having these brands on our bodies, but we spend far less on ownership, manufacturing, farms, technology, building technology of our own, intellectual property. This is very questionable. We spend far less on long-term planning and long-term institutions. Why is this? Because it's programming, mindset of Africans. We are exceptional consumers, but weak producers. Not because we are not capable of producing, but because we were programmed. We are programmed to be that way. And when we tell people about this programming, they think we are big-headed. We think we're better than everyone else. But we are trying to free our people so that we can also produce. I'm not saying we shouldn't consume at all. I am not saying that. I am just saying that we should invest more in producing than consuming. I understand that the consumer market is very important, but we as Africans need to also be producing, right? Let me tell you about the programming. Colonialism did not only steal the land, it reprogrammed behavior, how we navigate ourselves throughout our lives. Africa was actually designed through programming to extract raw materials, to export them cheaply to other Western countries and the East, and import finished products at a premium. By premium, I mean at a higher price. The system never ended. It just changed how it navigates around African communities. It changed the branding. And today, everybody knows this. We export materials, raw materials, and then we import phones, right? We import phones, and then we export oil, and then we import fuel, and then we export cocoa, and then we import chocolate. We can't even produce our own chocolate, but we consume it a lot. We don't control the value addition, and the value is where the power lies, but we don't notice that at all. And we don't notice that at all. Let's talk about alcohol as an example, because this one hits close to home. Brands like Hennessy, Jack Daniels, and Jameson are not just selling drinks at all. They are not selling drinks. They are selling identity, status, and aspiration. But we don't see that. They invest heavily in marketing. They sponsor musicians, especially on amapiano and hip-hop artists. They dominate TV, billboards, and social media, and they make consumption look like success, which is why we consume. And then they reinvest in their economies. And when they reinvest in their economies, those economies grow. We drink the product and they own the company that produces that product. And ask yourself, who is building generational wealth and at whose expense? Ask yourself this question. And then after you ask yourself this question, you'll notice that we lose more than we benefit. And let's be honest and balanced. You see, countries like China, Russia, and Japan understand Africa very well. They really do. They buy the raw materials and then they sell us finished products. They build infrastructure in exchange for access into Africa. Are they better partners than the West sometimes? Yes, in some cases, I will not lie, they are better allies. But let's not be naive as Africans. They also do not want Africa industrialized, because the moment Africa produces, we control the pricing, we control the supply chains, and we control our destiny. And when we control our destiny, they lose power over Africa. And power is never shared willingly. You understand? Every global power, West or East, benefits more when Africa consumes instead of produces. That's why they're bringing in new cars, cheaper, but they know that they are the ones who are going to benefit. But these are conversations that people avoid. And here's the contradiction. We say we don't trust each other when it comes to money, but we trust alcohol brands. We trust foreign corporations, and we trust consumer platforms. You understand? We can't build our own social media platforms. We hesitate to build together. We are fearless when it comes to spending together on destruction. That is not a money problem. That is a mindset problem, right? And let me be clear, guys. Let me be clear. I am not saying do not enjoy life. I'm not saying do not celebrate. I am not saying do not have fun. Joy is human. Everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves to enjoy themselves. The danger starts when we invest more in pleasure than in permanence, than in producing our own. Fun should be a reward, not a foundation. You understand? And obviously, after saying all of that, I cannot end this video without mentioning any solutions. You see, the solutions for Africa as a whole, especially my country, South Africa, we need to consume but produce more. There is nothing wrong with consumption, guys. The rule is just simple. You cannot consume more than you produce. Countries that dominate the world produce first and then they consume later. We can learn from these countries that exploit us. You understand? Another solution is start small. Collective ownership. Not billion-dollar dreams, guys. Not billion-dollar dreams. Let's start with community-owned businesses, youth cooperatives, and small manufacturing. Furthermore, tech services and digital platforms. Let's build our own social media platforms, guys. Ownership matters more than size. You understand? Baby steps. Then after that, you can start walking. Number 3, we can redirect spending power. If 10 people can spend 5,000 on a weekend alone, they can invest 5,000 into equipment, skills, a registered business, and an online product. Guys, we can do that. We can do that. Money is already here. It's just misdirected because of our mindset. We are programmed to think that way. You understand? Number 4, let's change what we celebrate. Let's stop glamorizing consumption, flashy clothes and all of that, and temporary pleasure, which is what the youth is suffering from. Let's start celebrating builders, engineers, entrepreneurs, thinkers, business women and businessmen, problem solvers, and then after that, we can start celebrating. Culture actually shapes the economics. You understand? Africa is not poor in resources, guys. Africa is poor in ownership. It is poor in the mindset. Until we ask ourselves, why do we fund our own destruction faster than our own development? Nothing changes. The future belongs to producers and not consumers. And my all-time favorite is the future that belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them